Okay, can get started. The meeting is now being recorded, and this is the inference perf benchmarking tool discussion meeting. We have a couple of topics today uh, that I wanted to call out. So last one we had the proposal reviewed and approved by the work group serving leads. So we were able to successfully get the inference perf repo created. So now it is available here. You can take a look. It doesn't have much at the moment. But yeah, we finally have a repo, so we can start contributing to it, which is the more exciting part. And we also have a PR. I just sent this out so that we have some base to work off of. This one essentially tries to put together a directory structure. Since we said the core part of it will be benchmarking as a code Python library, uh, this will be our inference perf library with some modules, so that like if we want to use the tool in other places, but I just want to pre-process a data set into a bunch of prompts, or if I just want the load gen to send some requests because I already have my own data set and whatnot, we can just incorporate a specific import like a specific module and just use that part in our tool. Report gen is post response processing. We want to generate a report with a bunch of stats. The request module will be the one which handles request to the model server. For example, this will have logic for sending requests to like VLLM, Triton, and other model servers. A response, obviously, this will process the response that we get back. In request and response, will support like streaming request. We can add like gRPC support and other things too. So yeah, that's like the overall idea. And obviously we have some good examples. Like we had like different tools that we called out, like fmperf, uh, the GKE latency profile generator tool, and there are a couple of other ones as well. PLM benchmark, GenAI perf, and there was a tool from Red Hat too. So I would say we can obviously take inspiration from those, and we can also take specific things that we know work that works well in that tool. And if you have been contributing to that, please feel free to add those specific things here. So yeah, any questions? Anything you'd like to discuss about the directory or the library structure itself? And then we can also talk about like who wants to start contributing. We could actually like create issues for these separate items. Someone could implement the dataset processing part. Someone could add the core logic to send request and all that.
Yeah, I had a question. So the load gen would basically use the other modules, right? The request and response parsers.
Yeah.
And it will also sort of trigger where the summary stats or the results would be accumulated.
Yeah, so the load gen is the one which, for example, we can generate different kind of load, right? Poisson distribution, something else. It would use the functions in the request libraries to send them. Yeah, it would process the, yeah, once we get back the response, it can then collect the stats that we would need and then post-process it in the report gen part.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, I would be keen to work on the load gen aspect.
That's good to know. Let me start putting some names. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Ashok. Just a question regarding the load gen part. I just wonder, like, are we expecting to do something like what VLLM had in their benchmarking scripts? Because I know they support like 3 different type of data, like the dummy data set and also like 2 real data set. I would expect to have something similar.
Yeah, I would say for data set, obviously each data set has its own advantage and disadvantages, right? With Share GPT that we have been using, we find it to be good to get like a real chat workload kind of a data set, but then the input output isn't like longer context or anything like that. So if you specifically need a longer context one, you can add a different one. And synthetic data too, like you mentioned, right? So it allows us to give the exact number of tokens that we want to send as input and output. Yeah, we can start with like one data set and like a simple load gen, maybe like Poisson distribution or something, and then make it pluggable so that like we can have different options for like the load pattern as well as the data sets.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, so one thing I can do is like I can start creating issues in the repo for these different components. And yeah, as people become interested, feel free to pick them up. Initially, we need to get like, yeah, like one data set, one load gen, and probably one model server. We can probably pick a VLLM as the starting point um, and get the tool to a working state, and then we can slowly revise to add more things.
Hey, hi, Ashok. I'm interested to work in the load gen and the report gen, both of those.
Cool, sounds good.
Yeah, and Ashok, I just also wonder, like, I can also help probably on the energy matrix, like later on.
Yeah. Sounds good. Others, let me know if you're interested in any specific parts. Cool. And next steps, I would say, yeah, take a look at this PR and let me know if there are any comments, anything we should change about like the current structure. If not, I think it would be good to initially at least iterate fast so that we can get some code in, and then obviously we can update, refactor, and get it into a better state. Yeah. So that's the current plan. After this meeting, I'll create GitHub issues, and for newer ones that you'd like to see in the repo, feel free to create new issues as well. And then we can start contributing. So right now, the code owners are mainly the workgroup serving leads. Once we start contributing, we'll see other folks in this meeting could be code owners as well. Because yeah, we are the ones who will be contributing mainly to the repo. So we'll get other folks added too as needed.
Just a few more questions. So with the contribution, do we have any set rules regarding, okay, this should be a format of PR or minimum number of approvers before it gets merged and the sort of thing?
Yeah, I think right now it would require a couple of things. Obviously, we don't have tests yet, right? If I see my CL here, yeah, so basically like it requires one LGTM label and an approval from the code owners before submitting, right? So yeah, it should be automatically added. And as long as you have signed like the CLA, you should be able to send out a PR and get it approved.
Cool.
And yeah, I would say like, yeah, feel free to review any of the PRs going in as well. Even though for now we might need final approval from like Johan or Eduardo, I think we should still be able to review the code and give some meaningful feedback. Sounds good. Any other topics or questions?
On the load gen part, what's the metric collection process? So we would have different sort of metrics. One is the the latency tokens and all of that stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you also mentioned energy metrics. So what's the process to collect those metrics?
Yeah, so if we look at what we called out here for the initial set of metrics, obviously the benchmarking tool itself, we want to report the throughput, latency, and prompt related metrics, right? Just the core ones that we want to measure performance. But then we also want to report like accelerator metrics and model server ones as well, right? This is something during the run we can query and get like a mean, median, P90, the different distributions. These will be coming from model server itself, VLLM, Triton, whichever one we are using. And these will be coming from the NVIDIA DCGM or other accelerator related metrics, like power usage. And we can extend this once we have like an initial way to collect it. I know FMPerf already had a collector to get some of this. And in the GK tool, we had like a model server metric collector of sorts. I think we can contribute the existing ones to this, then we can extend from there.
So this metric collection part, do you foresee as part of the load gen component or like a separate component to collect metrics from like generic servers?
I think we need to see, someone needs to take it up and think a little bit about it and start implementing. Yeah, I would say the metrics from model server or accelerator can come once we have like the initial load gen and reporting of the core performance metric, like throughput and latency. At that point, yeah, based on how the structure looks, I would like one of the folks here to like, yeah, take up that and send out a PR on what would be the right way to add it to the repo.
Yes, makes sense. So one more question about, yeah, let you finish that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So because we would be working with different flavors, like I said, sending a request to VLLM versus TensorRT or something like that. So for creating the specifications, what would be a tool of choice? Is protobuf or go-to specification to the language?
So in this case, we are not going to be having any APIs on our side that we are going to expose, right? The tool is basically going to call a bunch of APIs. So the initial thinking was to use HTTP and gRPC if needed. And usually the inference endpoint, most of them follow OpenAI's inference API spec today. So as long as we use that and we have a client which can send HTTP or gRPC requests as needed, we should be good. And there are example implementations as well in the tools that we surveyed first, right? I would encourage you to take a look at those ones too on how they're doing it. Cool. Any other questions? Okay, not we can wrap the meeting up early. Thanks for joining, everyone. Yeah, please feel free to review all the code going in. Feel free to chime in, create GitHub issues. I think initially it will be a little chaotic until we get good structure in with the basic things working. And then it should be much more streamlined to add more things on top of that. And yeah, thanks for attending the meeting and contributing to the tool. See you all next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.